This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Raising the alarm. Opposition leaders are calling attention to the growing size of this province's debt.
Africville protest. The family of the late Eddie Carvery vows to continue his fight for the former historic Black community.
And homeward bound. An endangered turtle who washed up on a Nova Scotia beach heads back to warmer waters.
A quiet Wednesday shaping up across the province, but more snow on the way for Wednesday night. Your full forecast details are coming up.
The Nova Scotia government tabled its latest budget on Monday, and now debate has started in the legislature. The Premier says his government has not been shy about spending.
But one of the things opposition leaders are drawing attention to is the size of the province's debt. The CBC's Michael Gorman explains.
When Premier Tim Houston formed government in 2021, the provincial debt stood at about $17 billion. It's increased steadily under his watch as his government has spent extensively on a variety of areas. Today, in this budget that's being debated at Province House, the debt now stands at about $28 billion. If the financial picture holds true for the next 4 years, in 4 years' time, the provincial debt will stand at about $35 billion, more than double what it was when Houston came to power. But he says all of that spending was necessary to make up for years of underinvestments in things such as healthcare, long-term care, and infrastructure.
So we had a choice. We could do what has been done and just put our heads in the sand and pretend it didn't exist and ignore it, or we could invest in the infrastructure that is around the province that's needed to keep people safe and to really improve our quality of life. So we've invested in infrastructure. We'll continue to do that.
NDP leader Claudia Chender says there's no excuse for the debt being where it is now or where it's projected to go. She says the situation is the result of the government not taking a serious enough approach to managing its own finances.
They have destroyed Crown corporations. They're appointing their friends to various positions. There's a new one every year, it seems. And now we are in a massive deficit position. Our debt is growing uncontrollably, and the message seems to be nothing to see here, don't worry about it.
Interim Liberal leader Ian Rankin was once a premier himself and part of a previous Liberal government. He says all governments need to know how to say no at certain times, and the PCs aren't able to do it.
And at the end of every single year, they decided to use money that was flush from Ottawa, revenue coming in. They spent it all. Of course, some of it's going to go in some good places. But the point is you have to be able to balance that year after year and not spend it all every March.
There's an important caveat with these out-year numbers that will see the debt continue to grow. The finance minister has said that the current numbers don't account for any new revenue that could come connected to natural resource development projects or an increase in federal defense spending that's been promised by the Prime Minister. Only time will tell whether or not that money comes in, but the current budget makes clear how bad things could get if there's no type of financial injection. Michael Gorman, CBC News at Province House.
Premier Tim Houston tabled new legislation Tuesday that lays out what offshore wind developers will be expected to pay the province to operate. The charge is lower than what was initially expected. The government had planned to ask for 4% of gross revenue that's being put off for at least a decade. To begin, developers will be asked to pay a rate proportionate to their turbines' capacity. Under that structure, the first 5-gigawatt phase of Houston's offshore wind plan would bring in $35 million annually.
There's a needle to be thread there because we don't want to be too aggressive on that it scares people away. But we also want to send the message that our expectation is that there's a direct benefit for Nova Scotians.
The Energy Department estimates that under current rates, 4% of gross revenue would bring in $100 million annually.
Lots of white stuff on the ground.
Yeah.
Ryan Snoddon with us now from the CBC Weather Centre.
Yes, and some tough shoveling, Ryan.
Yeah, it certainly was. It was heavy with that rain on top of the snow. And let's have a quick look at some of these numbers. And anywhere from 18 to near 30 centimeters in the metro area, kind of a widespread 15 to 30 centimeters across a good portion of the province. Couple of spots that were higher than that reported down towards the Bridgewater area. And it was all feeling very, very heavy, wasn't it? Now, the good news is that's gone. We've got a quiet start to Wednesday. The bad news is we've got more snow on the way. And I know I say bad news. I know some of you love this, but we've got quite a bit. And we are looking at another round coming through overnight Wednesday in through early Thursday. Looks like 5 to as much as 10. We'll talk more about this coming up with your 7-day in just a few minutes.
Stay tuned.
Hey.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
The latest quality of life survey launched this week, and organizers want to hear from every Nova Scotian. Engaged Nova Scotia is expanding its questionnaire, its first survey since 2019. Josh Hoffman reports.
Engaged Nova Scotia has launched its 2026 Quality of Life Survey, and there's two things that stand out about it. To start, this is their first survey since the COVID-19 pandemic left lasting effects on our lives.
A lot's happened since we last asked Nova Scotians these kinds of questions.
The 300-question survey covers a wide range of topics like affordability, housing, and career opportunities. It also gets into the nitty-gritty about things like loneliness, what we like to do in our free time, as well as our confidence in institutions and each other.
We're losing common ground about our shared future. Our hope is that through collecting methodologically sound evidence, we'll be able to come together around that.
The last survey was in 2019 and was sent to only 20% of the households in the province. This year's questionnaire is going out to every home in Nova Scotia. Engage Nova Scotia took extra steps through consultation to try to highlight the unique challenges facing members of marginalized communities and people living with disabilities.
It represents the largest single effort of this type ever undertaken, not just in Canada, but anywhere.
The survey is done in partnership with the Canadian Index of Wellness out of the University of Waterloo.
I think one of the things that's going to be fascinating is that because this survey is largely the same as what we did in 2019, we're going to be able to conduct a huge natural experiment. We're going to be able to see where were people in Nova Scotia in 2019, where are they now in 2026, now that we've hopefully emerged largely from the pandemic.
Those behind the survey say the goal is to create a comprehensive understanding of the different issues facing all of Nova Scotians. Because if you don't understand the problems, you can't fix them. Josh Hoffman, CBC News, Halifax.
Halifax Council has had some heated debates in recent days as it continues its budget process. Last week, Mayor Andy Fillmore made a motion to explore staff cuts across most departments except frontline roles in fire, police, and transit. Halifax is facing a possible 10.9% hike to the average urban property tax bill. But senior staff said that would take time to do properly, and an upcoming service review will already look at staff levels. The mayor's motion was defeated.
I think the mayor introducing motions at the last minute without notification, without discussion with senior staff, I think that introduces a real element of chaos into the budget process this year.
I would rather that I didn't have to fight so hard to protect affordability and on behalf of our residents. But fight I must, and I'll just keep on doing that. I am puzzled that it's not clear to the majority of our council that we have to make substantial cuts in this year's budget.
Next week, councillors will debate a long list of possible cuts or new revenue ideas to bring the tax increase down. The city budget will be passed in March.
Family of the Africville activist Eddie Carvery, who recently died, are vowing to continue his decades-long protest on the grounds of the former historic Black community. As Gareth Hampshire tells us, his grandson wants to continue his campaign, but the Africville Museum has other ideas.
Eddie Carvery III grew up watching his grandfather's campaign in Africville and says there is still work to be done following his death earlier this month.
And he wanted this fight to continue on as long as it had to until the people of Africville really truly got what they deserved.
Carvery, who was 79, first set up camp more than 50 years ago to protest how his community was demolished by Halifax in the 1960s, and kept it going ever since because he could not accept what happened to him and others in the historic Black community.
What he wanted most before anything else was a public inquiry.
He and other family members have been talking about maintaining a presence at Carvery's trailer and are getting support for the idea. Matthew Byard's the creator of the website blacknovascotia.ca and thinks the trailer tells a powerful story of resistance to people who visit the area that is now a National Historic Site.
With his passing, I think it would be a disservice to him and to the former residents of Africville and to even just Black Nova Scotians or Black people throughout the diaspora in general to, let that die out with Mr. Carver.
But the trailer is on land owned by the Africville Heritage Trust, which operates the Africville Museum and asked Carvery to remove it last summer. The museum says the trailer is deteriorating, presents safety concerns, and cannot stay there, but is planning a tribute it worked on with Eddie Carvery several years ago.
We agree. Mr. Carvery's protest is a part of the Africville story.
The museum will be dedicating a monument to Carvery. It sees as a fitting way to make sure his legacy is not forgotten.
He even has a quote from his mother as his inspiration. I think that particular monument is something that will hold his legacy forever and will be there forever.
It's still to be determined when the monument will be unveiled. Meanwhile, Carvery's family are planning his funeral service for next month. Gareth Hampshire, CBC News, Halifax.
Dartmouth's first Black police officer is being honored by the Halifax Regional Police. A room at police headquarters is being dedicated to the late Constable Sinclair Williams. Williams, who was from East Preston, was hired by the former Dartmouth Police Department in 1968. Chief Don McLean recognized him as an officer who paved the way for other African Nova Scotians.
He wasn't one to promote himself. He was like, he had a job, he liked it, and he felt great. He felt proud. He wasn't like I'm the first, I'm this. He was just doing his job and doing it well and enjoying what he was doing. So it wasn't like I made history, but when people started coming back to him and say, oh, I did that? I don't remember. I just did what God wanted me to do. That's who he was.
Williams died in 2014, and his family donated his uniform for the room. It will be used for news conferences and will now also be available for officers to hold meetings.
Well, many of us want to travel to warmer climates this time of year, especially after that wallop of snow. And a plane flying from Halifax to the Bahamas today has a very special passenger.
Yes, her nickname is Lucky. She's an endangered turtle that was found off the coast of Nova Scotia last fall. And as Juliana Grillo reports, the team is taking this rare turtle back to the warm waters where she belongs.
Hypothermic, weak, and emaciated. That's how Lucky the juvenile sea turtle was found in Digby back in the fall, when it is far too late and far too cold for her to swim back south. She's a Kemp's Ridley sea turtle, a species so endangered that it experienced a 90% population decline in the last 75 years. These turtles travel north to feed in the summer, and then back to their warm Caribbean waters in the rest of the year. After months of specialized care at the Atlantic Veterinary College in PEI, Lucky is now about to take a plane to the Bahamas. But it's not as easy as just booking a ticket.
So you need a lot of permits. You're not allowed to just move endangered species across international borders. The United States government had gone into its shutdown when Lucky first arrived, which means that this just wasn't a viable option in this case, and we had to look at different possibilities. And we were thrilled that Bahamas was willing to take Lucky. It's at Atlantis Paradise Island, which is a resort that's pretty well known, I think, in our area, but also has this amazing animal care facility and rehabilitation facility, and they've been so kind to agree to take Lucky.
Martin is traveling with Lucky's veterinarian. They carried bags with small heaters, blankets, and other things to keep this tropical animal cozy. They had to figure out the logistics of moving a rare marine turtle from Charlottetown to the Halifax airport.
So initially the plan was to get in the vehicle, travel directly from Charlottetown to Halifax and get on a plane, but the snowstorm made that a big challenge. So we actually had to come a full day early and then figure out how to logistically care for an aquatic sea turtle in a hotel environment. As you can imagine, that faced lots of challenges. And so we brought that type of salt I mentioned that's specific for aquatic species, and we mixed that in a bathtub full of water, but even little things like making sure we clean and disinfect the tub so there's no residue, for example, from previous shampoo or body lotions and things like that might have been in it. Those things are all details we take into account.
When Lucky arrives, a team in Atlantis Paradise Island, Bahamas will take her to her new temporary home. She will stay in the Wildlife Center in quarantine for a month until she's cleared to be released. Juliana Grillo, CBC News, Halifax.
Good news for Lucky. Well, Ryan will be back with the full forecast coming up after the break.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, Ryan back with us now to dig a little deeper into the snowy weather forecast.
Yeah.
Dig.
Yeah, dig indeed. And as we mentioned, many Nova Scotians woke up to a lot of snow this morning.
Yes, here in Halifax, that meant some messy commutes and even getting stuck.
Brett Ruskin was, of course, up early and thankfully in a helpful mood. Take a look.
Whoa, whoa. There we go. Again, almost there. So if you can go like that, like as it goes like that, that'd be great.
We've all been there, haven't
Yep.
we? Ruskin says the car was stuck near the Ermdale Rotary. Several attempts were made, pushing, putting things under the tires. But after about 20 minutes, the car was still stuck.
Luckily, some other drivers out doing snow clearing also stopped by to help. And with the extra set of hands and a big push, the car was finally able to continue on its way.
Still, Brett's a good guy to know, though, isn't he?
Yeah,
In case
he
you're in
is.
trouble like that.
Handy.
Mhm.
Yeah. And listen, I'm sure there were many cars getting stuck last night and even this morning, as we saw with the snow so wet. Once you start sliding, that just packs down. It becomes ice so quickly. And speaking of some icy conditions, have a look at this. This is Truro, and a few folks still on the ice rink there at the town civic area, and you can see, it's a beautiful evening. Temperatures out there right now, right around the freezing mark, and it's kind of nice to get a little
Enjoy it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. You might as well enjoy it while it's here. And as we look at those temperatures out there, it's right around -2 in Truro, -1 in Halifax, -1 in Yarmouth, and -4 Port Hawkesbury. Looking at the winds, thankfully they haven't been too bad today either, in from the northwest, and they're going to continue to ease through tonight and into tomorrow. Still some gusts in the 50 to 60 kilometer per hour range right now in through Cape Breton, and it is indeed Cape Breton that will be the last to kind of see those winds ease as we move into the early morning hours tomorrow, becoming sustained around 20. We are looking at still some onshore flurries for Inverness County. Could see another 2 to 5 centimeters there tonight, especially north of Mabu. A couple of isolated flurries on the go across central parts of the mainland, and that will remain a possibility overnight, even into the early hours of tomorrow. And then we've got this Clipper system, which is going to be moving in. Some cooler air behind that, as you can see, -13 to -15. We're trying back towards Winnipeg right now. Calgary at -1. Toronto at -4, St. John's at +1 as the storm continues there. And you can see some warmer air certainly creeping up into the U.S. South, as we will be watching that in the coming weeks with bated breath. Now, as we look at the hour by hour, note the flurries, as we said, continuing for Inverness overnight, and looking at an isolated chance for a flurry overnight into the early morning hours of Wednesday. It is indeed an isolated risk. Really not looking at a whole lot here, but I did put it in to the forecast. -4 to -8 across the mainland, -5 to -6 across Cape Breton. The winds becoming light for the mainland, and as we said, backing off for Cape Breton with sustained winds near 20. Now, tomorrow, sunshine after that early morning chance for a flurry, sunshine, a mix of sun and cloud at the very least, and then we're looking at the clouds building in throughout the afternoon, becoming mainly cloudy. And here it comes, the next round of snow. Tri-County area into western areas of the valley, up towards even Lunenburg. That's our best chance of seeing some snow on the roads by the time we get to around 5, 6 p.m. for tomorrow. So that's where we have the best chance of seeing some slick conditions for the drive home on Wednesday. That snow will then continue to track in, and we'll pick up that part of the story in just a moment. We are looking at temperatures tomorrow right near the freezing mark. Southwest winds 20, gusting 30 to 40 into the afternoon. That will be ushering in that milder air, which will actually see temperatures rising into Wednesday night. As you will see, will be near -1 in through Cape Breton. So there's the timeline, and note the snow tracking in through Wednesday evening. And yes, look at this in green, and the temperatures bumping up means a change over to some rain and drizzle briefly as this system does depart. I don't think it's going to amount to a whole lot, but it'll be enough to just make things nice and heavy again for shoveling. There goes that snow by early to mid-Thursday morning in through Cape Breton. Behind that, we are going to be looking at the possibility of a shower mixed with a flurry for Thursday afternoon, with temperatures bumping up into the 2 to 3, even 4 degree range. Now, snowfall outlook, as I said earlier, I think we're looking at about 5 centimeters is a good number for most of us. 3 to 8, if that's a fine range for most. But the better chance of getting into some 10 centimeter amounts looks to be along the eastern shore and also into northern Cape Breton. In fact, Cape Breton itself, I think, will put you folks in that 5 to 10 centimeter range overall. Now, as I said, temperatures 3, 4, 5 degrees on Thursday, so we will see some melting after that snow on Thursday, though you might want to clear things off because temperatures are going to be dropping again for Thursday night into Friday. And how about this? Area of high pressure driving in. At one point, this was all looking like a potential snow threat. No longer. That is going to be driven well to the south, and I do think skies will kind of clear out through Friday. Looking at Saturday, a beautiful day, low single-digit temperatures, sun and cloud. Chance for flurries moving in with a frontal boundary on Sunday, and that front will plunge temperatures into early next week. Monday looking like a very chilly day. Tuesday as well, but recovering through next week.
Okay.
Yeah, chilly for sure.
Get ready.
Okay, Ryan, thanks so much.
Thanks, Ryan.
Coming up, an expert weighs in on a new provincial tax for Nova Scotians who drive electric vehicles and hybrids.
The Houston government's newest budget includes a new tax for people who drive electric vehicles and hybrids. It starts on October 1st and is payable when registrations are renewed. Every 2 years, it will cost $500 for fully electric vehicles and $250 for hybrids. The government says the measure is intended to help pay for road maintenance. Kurt Sampson is Executive Director of the Electric Vehicle Association of Atlantic Canada. So first off, were you surprised to see this new tax in Monday's budget?
Hey, thanks, Amy. The topic isn't surprising because we've seen this in a few other jurisdictions that have been in place for a few years, but it was a surprise to hear it here just because we didn't have any idea that this was even being discussed among ourselves or any of the groups in the industry that I work with. I don't know of anyone who saw this coming. And I think it would be an opportunity to have a good discussion about how we move forward with paying for roads and road maintenance, looking to the future where gas tax, is a thing that will be going away. Just as people stop driving vehicles that use gas. We know this is happening. It's going to gradually happen. This is an opportunity. We were hoping there would be a little bit more discussion, but yeah, it was a surprise.
All right, well, how do you pay for road maintenance if you don't have a gas tax or this tax on EVs?
That's right. I think that's the root question, right? And we do know that there has been this gas tax that a lot of people associated as that's what pays for our roads and our road maintenance. It's not exactly a one-to-one where that linearly pays for our roads. It's not nearly enough. It does that tax goes into the general tax revenue, and we use that general tax base to pay for roads and road maintenance. So in a way, it does contribute. But sort of as that goes away, we do need to still pay for roads, and everybody should. Everybody benefits from roads, and everybody should pay for them according to how much they benefit from, how much they use the roads and the road infrastructure. So I think this would be a great opportunity to come up with a new system, one that's even more fair than the gas tax that we've had, because it wasn't a perfect system even when everyone was driving gas vehicles. We do know some things about road maintenance and road wear, where essentially 90 to 95% of the wear and tear on our roads is caused by heavy trucking.
Right.
Only 5 to 10% is passenger vehicles. But the way the system was with gas tax, those heavy trucks, they paid, maybe they paid 15 times more because they used that much more gas per kilometer. But the science and the engineering studies that we've known about for almost half a century have taught us and continue to teach us that the amount that those trucks contribute to road wear on a per kilometer basis is about 2,500 times. It's a big range, but it's in that 1,000 to 4,000 times range more road damage. So it'd be nice to see a system where that is spread more fairly instead of, for instance, maybe someone who lives in a rural area. We know generally folks who live like rural Nova Scotians drive a little bit more because they have to drive further to work and to the grocery store and whatnot. They would pay more than their fair share for road maintenance as it was under gas tax than someone who maybe didn't drive much. There could be someone who didn't drive at all, but they buy a lot of things, and a lot of things come shipped to their house, the groceries, all kinds of stuff that they buy. The garbage gets picked up, the snow gets plowed. Even people who don't drive benefit from us having roads and taking care of the roads. So there's a way that I think we could come up with a system that's easy and fair for everyone.
Do you think this tax on EVs will deter people from switching to electric vehicles?
I think it will have a little bit of that effect. In reality, if you have an EV, this is unlikely to change the financial equations of your EV ownership. For some people, it will. But for instance, like someone like myself, I save $500 a month or more on gas alone. So me having to pay $500 every 2 years for this tax is really inconsequential. Really, it makes, I would not ever consider switching away from an EV for something like this. But if for someone who might be considering an EV who doesn't really know or have a solid grasp of the economics of EV ownership, it's probably another deterrent. And we don't like to see that, but we do want to see roads and everybody paying their fair share for the roads. And we know something has to change. So we'd like to have encourage a productive conversation around that to come up with a really good system.
Now, Ottawa recently announced a 5-year program that will give individuals and businesses up to $5,000 when they buy battery electric and fuel EVs, and up to $2,500 for plug-in hybrids. Is that going to have an impact, do you think?
Well, yeah, that was announced recently, and I think that will have a positive impact on folks who might have been considering buying an EV, because we used to have a program that was very similar that had a rebate that the pool of money dried up about a year ago in early 2025, and that caused a lot of people to, I think, wait because there was some hope that it would come back. So I think people were waiting, and now that is back, so that'll be helpful. There is a price cap on that. It only applies to vehicles with a transaction price below 50,000, and they have to be only from countries we have trade agreements with. If they're made in Canada, that 50,000 doesn't apply. So if you were getting a Dodge Daytona EV, then it would still apply, even though it's more than 50. But I think that will help. And this new road maintenance tax thing will deter a few people a little bit. I don't think that'll be the major the major issue with it. I just think that there's an opportunity here to come up with something much better.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll have to leave it there, but thank you so much for your perspective. We appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks, Amy.
Coming up, some sense of normalcy is returning to Puerto Vallarta after the Mexican city was rocked by violence Sunday.
And 4 years after Russia's all-out invasion of Ukraine, the country's president is urging allies not to lose focus on the conflict. Welcome back. Canadian Airlines have resumed service to Mexican destinations 2 days after the killing of drug lord El Mencho sparked violence and halted many flights. Still, Ottawa is urging Canadians to exercise caution. Jorge Barrera has more.
things are bustling again here at the Puerto Vallarta airport as international flights have resumed. Some Canadians managed to snag the first flights out of here. I spoke to one couple who had their flights canceled on Sunday, and they thought they were going to have to stay here for another 2 weeks, but they got on the Air Canada website and they managed to snag one of the first flights back home. The second couple who had a flight previously booked for today were double, triple, quadruple checking to make sure their flight was still departing, and they got here 4 hours before it was supposed to leave. Now, I've also spoken to locals here, including business owners, who say they're worried that the events of Sunday may have tarnished the image of Puerto Vallarta, impacted the way people see this tourist destination. They said, you know, we depend a lot on tourism, Canadian tourism. We hope that people will return because what happened on Sunday is out of the ordinary. Now, the Mexican federal government is also projecting stability. A warship just docked off the port here. More soldiers have arrived. The Mexican federal government has said they have sent about 9,500 military elements spread out through the state of Jalisco. Now, there are still Canadians coming here for vacation. I ran into another couple that was just arriving, and they said the images that they saw and on the news and on social media on Sunday didn't dissuade them from continuing on with their vacation. And they said they're ready to just go with the flow. Jorge Barrera, CBC News, Puerto Vallarta.
The recent death of Mexican drug lord El Mencho will have far-reaching repercussions. Thomas Dagla explains how the effect on the illegal drug trade here in Canada comes with surprising and dangerous consequences.
Consider this a taste of what slain drug lord El Mencho was smuggling into Canada.
They were prominent. I mean, if you look at what we have here right now, this is a large load.
A record-breaking cocaine bust last year in Toronto with more than 800 kilograms seized. Drugs that investigators linked to the infamous Jalisco New Generation cartel, led by Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, or El Mencho for short, the ruthless kingpin killed on Sunday by Mexico's military.
I expect the impacts pretty much to be the same anywhere in the world, including the United States and Canada.
Police in Canada's biggest cities suspect the price of bulk cocaine could soar again, just as it did last month after the arrest of Ryan Wedding, a Canadian said to have done big business with the Sinaloa cartel. Montreal police reported cocaine prices jumped to $33,000 per kilogram before sliding back down to $21,000.
Any type of reduction in the capacity of transnational organized crime networks to be able to do their trade is important. Sometimes it's short-lived.
Police say when prices go up, it leads dealers to cut street cocaine with more dangerous and unpredictable substitutes. And for years, this crime analyst says it's likely El Mencho's cartel carried out killings in Canada, like after that cocaine bust in Toronto.
When these kind of seizures happen, there's people who have to pay for that. And usually payment is basically your life.
The killing of El Mencho came just a month after the arrest of Wedding. The two men's networks were said to have worked together at times to move drugs into Canada. But Wedding's lawyer insists his client didn't provide the information that helped lead authorities to the elusive cartel boss. Thomas Dagg, CBC News, Toronto.
On Tuesday, Ukrainians marked the 4th anniversary of Russia's full-scale invasion of their country. A commemorative events as they took place across Ukraine. European leaders vowed not to abandon the war-torn nation. Margaret Evans has more.
4 years in and counting. Prayers for Ukraine's war dead and those still fighting in the trenches. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky, flanked by European Union leaders, making what's become an annual pilgrimage of support. It is an unspeakably painful day for Ukrainians. Time standing still for the dead, but not those left behind to mourn and to carry on the fight in their name. Somehow it feels like this war has been going on forever, says 19-year-old Valeria Pivin, whose father was killed. The boys did not die for nothing, says her mother, Irena. I strongly believe that they were on their way to victory. Volodymyr Zelensky says it will come if there's sustained support from Ukraine's allies, a point he repeated to the European Parliament over a €90 billion loan being blocked by Hungary.
This is a real financial guarantee of our security and our resilience, and it must be implemented.
It's a reminder of the careful path Zelensky is treading, not just within the European Union, but with an often unpredictable leader in the White House. In Kyiv, Commission President Ursula von der Leyen offered EU assurances.
This word cannot be broken. So we will deliver on the loan, one way or the other.
The question, of course, is when, and will it come in time to make a difference? In Moscow, Russian President Vladimir Putin accused Ukraine and its Western allies of what he called mass terror by shelling cities and sabotaging infrastructure because they haven't succeeded on the battlefield. Margaret Evans, CBC News, London.
Morning show host Savannah Guthrie and her family have increased the reward for information leading to the return of her mother. They're offering $1 million in a bid to be reunited with 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, whether she's dead or alive. Jagruthi Dave has more.
Every hour and minute and second and every long night has been agony.
NBC anchor Savannah Guthrie made the announcement in a tearful Instagram post, saying her family need to know where their mother is and that someone out there knows something.
We are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. You can call the 1-800 tip line. You can be anonymous if you want.
In her video, Savannah Guthrie acknowledged that her mother might already be gone, but was holding out hope, appealing directly to anyone with information to come forward, saying, "Let this be your sign." More than 20,000 tips have come through in the search for 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, who was abducted from her Arizona home on the 1st of February. The FBI is also offering a $100,000 reward and have released images of a masked and armed man captured on Guthrie's doorbell camera on the morning of her disappearance. Media reports are now citing sources who say one of the pictures was taken the day before she was kidnapped. So far, there have been no breakthroughs in the investigation. But in her social media appeal for information, Savannah Guthrie said her family still believes in a miracle. Jagruthi Dave for CBC News in Washington.
Britain's House of Commons has approved the release of papers related to former Prince Andrew's appointment as a trade envoy. Andrew Mountbatten Windsor is suspected of improperly passing on government information to convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein during his decade in that role. Britain's leader of the opposition, Liberal Democrats, says it's time for transparency when it comes to the investigations into the former prince, as well as Peter Mandelson. The former UK ambassador to the US is also facing allegations of impropriety.
Their association with Epstein and their actions on his behalf, while trusted with the privilege of public office, are a stain on our country. Today, we must begin to clean away that stain with the disinfectant of transparency.
The former prince was arrested last week on suspicion of misconduct in public office. He was released without charge, and the investigation continues. King Charles's younger brother was stripped of his princely title last year due to revelations about his relationship with Epstein.
U.S. President Donald Trump is set to deliver the first State of the Union address of his second term Tuesday. And as Katie Nicholson explains, he might be looking for a reset.
The stakes are high for the U.S. president, underwater in many metrics across many different polls, in some cases by double digits since last year, including on some of the issues that propelled him into office, the economy and immigration. Donald Trump will have to convince a skeptical American public he has a plan for affordability, a concept he's mocked at times this past year, and he has to help kick off messaging for Republicans seeking re-election this midterm cycle. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt says the speech will highlight what they see as the administration's wins.
He will, of course, lay out a very ambitious agenda, I think, for the working people of this country to make America more affordable and prosperous and safe and make the American dream more attainable.
Of course, this is Donald Trump. He likes to go off script, so it remains to be seen how disciplined that messaging will be. The speech is also expected to be long, but Trump needs to stick the landing here to convince Americans the Republicans are tackling the issues voters care about. Because what he doesn't want is to lose control of Congress in November. Unusual tonight, counter-programming events organized by left-leaning organizations. One, called State of the Swamp, features actors Robert De Niro and Mark Ruffalo. And another notable one near the Capitol called the People's State of the Union. Roughly 24 Democratic lawmakers intend to skip the president's address to attend that event, where they say Americans impacted by this administration's policies will also be on hand.
It's important to show the American public that someone that has led the single most corrupt government in U.S. history, that there has to be action against that. I think a lot of us are going to talk about that.
Of course, there's a history of protest inside the State of the Union. In recent years, lawmakers have heckled presidents. Some have walked or been escorted out. And famously, in 2020, Speaker Nancy Pelosi ripped her copy of Trump's address in two. Katie Nicholson, CBC News, Washington.
There's growing evidence that suggests people with Parkinson's disease can slow its progress through dance.
The debilitating condition affects more than 110,000 Canadians. Jennifer LaGrassa met with some patients who were determined to get in the groove.
An arm dance.
Moving her body, Barbara Salzberg Matthews feels free.
Great.
The 67-year-old leaned into that feeling after she was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2020.
Parkinson's can't stop me from dancing.
Great. Let's bring our hands together.
Even as muscle weakness and stiffness have settled into her body, dance is still her refuge.
My range and fluidity of my movement just comes right back.
Nice.
Years of research suggests dancing can slow the progression of Parkinson's disease. The disorder often leads to tremors, balance issues, and muscle stiffness, along with depression and brain fog. But research shows some symptoms can improve or stabilize through dance.
If exercises was a pill, it would be the most prescribed drug.
While they learn the dance,
experts still don't fully understand how dance impacts the brain, but say the music, specific movements, and social aspect all play a role.
if a doctor said you got to run more or you got to do more steps, those are very simple things that don't push cognition.
Okay, I think we're ready to dance with each other.
Rebecca Barnstaple teaches people like Barbara to dance. This class, it's the tango.
Tango specifically works with balance, with weight shift, with gait, with walking.
Knowing that Canadians can wait years for treatment, Barnstaple is launching a website for Parkinson's patients across the country to connect with each other through singing, painting, or dance classes.
And they're getting some movement and some social activity that could really support their mental health. And I've also seen the extremely powerful medicine of human connection.
Ken Wickens has had Parkinson's for about 12 years. This is his first dance class.
I'm not sitting still, and I'm not watching the world go by. I'm getting a part of it.
Step out. Finding the rhythm in hopes of keeping his symptoms at bay. Jennifer LaGrassa, CBC News, Windsor, Ontario.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
Okay, you may not have liked the shoveling, but who thinks it was pretty this morning?
No.
No?
I'm sorry, Tom.
No sale there.
I've given up. No.
Amy's going right to spring.
Yes.
She's so hardy, isn't she?
It's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if you ever did it. Did you even do any shoveling? I'm sure you did, but anyway.
I looked out the window.
Okay, all right, okay. Maybe the snowbanks along your driveway, not so pretty.
Not so pretty, yeah.
But I've got one that may even appeal to Amy here.
Okay,
have a look at this. This one we're going to zoom in on the Oakfield area and have a look at this.
There, Amy, come on.
Okay, that's pretty. It looks better than my driveway did.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's for sure.
Yeah. Olivia with this great picture. Thank you, Olivia. Ryan's Picks at cbc.ca. So many great picks in the Ryan's Picks inbox, and this one from a few days ago, I do believe, but likely a similar scene in the woods this morning. Have a look at the timeline here with that future tracker, that system moving out and the next system moving in. And yes, as you can see here, that light snow tracking in from west to east, and we are looking at that likely going to be dropping around 5 centimeters for most, but we could see some pockets that do push up closer to 10 centimeters, as we will show you here with the timeline. So there is by 6 p.m. tomorrow. So really not looking at a whole lot for the commute home, but the Tri-County area, western areas of the valley up into Queens County, that's the best chance of seeing some light accumulation on the roads for the drive home. And then, yeah, that system does track through with that snowfall. Pretty light, all things considered. Best chances for 5 to 10 will be Cape Breton and Guysborough. So there is the next area of high pressure that moves in behind it, and that is thankfully going to drive what looked like a possible storm system for Friday well offshore. That is no longer going to be the case. Friday may be a bit cloudy to start, but it looks like we'll mix out to a mix of sun and cloud. Temperatures on the plus side Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and yes, even possibly Sunday with some flurries coming in. Not so much early next week, however.
No, okay. Spring's somewhere out there, Amy. It's on the way. You can see some strange things traveling the back roads in Nova Scotia for sure, but what RCMP saw one night last November probably takes first prize. It was a bird, a very big bird.
This emu was seen strolling along a road in Lunenburg County, and shepherding it to safety proved to be a task. Constable Nicholas Bars tells CBC News it was skittish.
He said he tried herding the bird with his baton, but the emu had other ideas and took off into the woods. Eventually, more Mounties and the bird's owners were able to get it back to its pen.
What an ordeal.
Yeah.
That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.